Hey, I'm ElusiveKev, welcome back to Gran Turismo Sports and another GT3 race as we're around the Kyoto driving park around the Yamagawa to lay out the reverse layout to what it normally is. I'm very used to that layout, I'm not used to this one though, so should be a tricky race from 15th on the grid. We'd not have a good practice or qualifying, so what can we achieve from there in this 10-lap race? Maybe a top 10 that we normally aim for. We will see, as there's lots of beetles in this field. This is when the influx of beetles starts to happen in this game, and look at that, we're surrounded by them at the start. It looks like there's a poor start in front for they're battling hard for 12th. Already has, I believe that's the Honda NXX, and the Beetle is that's got custom livery, doesn't it? For the Frenchman, has been making a dive down the inside into the first corner, normally the last corner. We get into the back of the Beetle. That's how the Beetle round our outside. We've lost some SR rating, but we're ahead of another Beetle and the NSX, as well as we're in 13th, but maybe going down our inside into the right. Doesn't look like, we have to do some quick avoiding action for the Beetle. Got it all wrong, looking down the inside, got on some grass, as we've got a couple of Beetles leading from the Germans ahead of the Belgium in the Porsche. But here we are up into 12th. We made 3 positions already. Very good start for us, as we're in between a couple of Frenchmen in Beetles, and then we've got a fellow Nissan GTR. Good to see the Italian in 10th. But here we go through this very tricky section, so different compared to the reverse layout, going downhill, braking downhill, very tricky braking zone. Very difficult to hit those apexes at first, especially on this first lap, especially when you haven't really driven around this circuit. But we're going down the inside into the right-hander, side by side already with a Beetle, as they get a good run. But now we go through this back hill section and these flowing S-bends, which are virtually flat out in the normal layout, but they are flat out in this layout if you can get them right. But we're backing off in the first part to nail the second part, maybe have a run heading towards the final corner, but we get into the back of that Beetle now, heading into the final corner. It's 4th gear, and he cuts us off. We've got it down to 3rd in the end, using that engine braking, but you can take that in 4th, be much more aggressive than we were through there. Not very aggressive on the exit, as you can see, cutting some grass as we're in 11th. That maybe now the other Beetle get a run on us, heading towards the first corner on the second lap, as we're not really defending the inside. Maybe we should be, as that Beetle takes a late dive towards the apex, braking very cautiously, but holding that outside line actually helped us. We had the outside heading on the exit of the corner, and as you can see, we managed to stay ahead of the Beetle behind by over half a second now. We're right in the tail of the Frenchman. Do we maybe make a move into the hairpin, as you see a Porsche battling in front? I think we do. We take a little look, but again, we're not quite close enough as they're braking in the middle of the corner there. So you don't want to be doing that, and that's allowed us to have a superb run off the corner, but we're not quite in the slipstream, as you've got the Honda in 30, you've got the fast lap from the Beetle, and opening out looks like a 40.9, and we're over the back of this VW. Once again, we're into the back of them, as it looks like he's running wide on the X and going in the back of them. Maybe it's not affected them, it's really affected us though. We're not going to have a run heading into this long right hand instead of being the left hander, as we go into, we've got the check in the Porsche. It's like in 9th. As you go through this, you can kind of lift early on, and you can really nail the throttle, go flat out, go all the way to the exit curb. As someone's gone off in, is that another Beetle that has gone off? So we're up into the top 10. We've achieved our goal already on this second lap, but of course we want more. Looks like we've got more pace as well than the Frenchman in front. Can we get this right, as he uses the back end a bit earlier than we would like? And so we're side by side going into the final corner, but he holds it round the outside. Once again, we've been denied, as he goes slightly too wide though on the exit, goes into the grass, and that is not how you lawnmower, my friend. As we go up into 9th, we've already got someone who's left the race, so 9th on the beginning of the 3rd lap, and we'll take that, as we've got a Beetle, a Russian in the Beetle in 7th. I told you lots of Beetles in this race, but we're catching the Porsche in front. And you can see there's a bit of a line of 3 for 6th, so maybe we can even look at the top 5 as 5th. It's not too far in front of that group of 3 in front. But here we go, we're catching as well. We've been battling the opening 2 laps. Now we're just putting our head down, trying to nail these apexes, try to build a gap behind of over 1.5 seconds to the Beetle behind. And we've got a 2.5 second gap to catch up to the Porsche in front, so we can put our head down on this lap, and then maybe on the next lap we can think about making some moves that go through this flowing chicane and always lose it on the exit as well. And I do really like that chicane in this configuration. And the other configuration going slightly downhill, but again you've got to brake early and then you go flat out through that chicane. This is a bit more like a balancing act, you know, a bit more skill involved maybe going through the chicane in this configuration. I really do love it. And now you'll see me really nail these kind of S-bends here, as you can take it flat. You've got to take lots of curb though to make sure you do. You don't want to be doing it late in the race either as well. Maybe you take a slight confident lift in the middle. Those S-bends, we've gained quite a lot on the check in front, so we've gained around a second it seems on this lap, as that gap remains behind, kind of similar to the Beetle, as always using all the exit curb. You can do that with this car, as we've got a 2-second gap behind and then we've got 1.5 second gap in front, as we do a 37.2. We're around a second and a half off the pace. That's not too bad considering my lack of experience around here, and considering Nissan's perhaps not the best car around here. As you see, those are Beetles everywhere, and this was pre-patch, as someone's gone off. It looks like it's a Beetle has been claimed. It is the Russian in the Beetle, so we're right on the tail of the Porsche, it looks like, as we virtually matched our first sector time from the previous lap. As all the back end getting out of shape, but because we've got a great run of Porsche heading towards this chicane, but I don't really want to make a move through the chicane, perhaps setting up for the exit. It's already kind of defending. You don't want to be doing that, my friend. You're losing loads of speed, loads of time to us. As we go on the exit, get a smooth exit, not smooth enough to perhaps make a move into the right hander. But as I was saying, pre-patch, loads of Beetles everywhere. Post-patch, in the free race they've done, loads of Porsches everywhere. But you will see as you go further on in this game's Lifecycle Pros patch. And this is the patch that came a few days ago. It's going to the outside of the Porsche. Do we dare make the move into the left? No, we're not brave enough. We're only on the 4th lap as well. We're battling for 7th. Don't want to be taking risks this early. Maybe in the second half of the race we'll go side by side, but not in the first half, as we're right in the tail of the Porsche. Once we use them to also gain on the Nissan in front for 6th. As you go to the end of this 4th lap onto the 5th, we've got a great slipstream, as we've got over a 5-second gap behind to the Frenchman in the Beetle. Here we go. Are they defending the inside of Czech driver? He's not. He's letting us go down the inside. Perhaps we'll defend that a bit. But he's trying to do the cut back as he goes slightly wide on the exit. Oh, he's giving us the old friendly nudge. Robin is racing, of course. And he's allowed him to regain that 7th place, or her. As he goes slightly wide though, as we're going side by side. And he's losing the car. And we're kind of helping him here by going down the outside. If we weren't there, perhaps we would have just spun into the barrier. But keeps in a straight line now, and it looks like they're glitching all over the place. Unfortunately, the connection's gone to shite. That's a good thing post-patch as well. You get to see the connection bars on the side of drivers, so you can see who's glitching and who's all over the place and who's got a bit more stable connection who you're battling with. So that's nice to see. Just little touches as well being added to the patch recently, and you know they've adjusted quite a few things as well, kind of the balance of performance, and that's perhaps why we're seeing the shift in as well with all the cars being chosen. But we will see that shake out in the next few weeks after this patch, as they're also allowed to play offline as well on the game finally, which is very good to see. So yeah, a good patch recently. Added a couple of vehicles as well. Haven't really tried them out yet, the Shelby or the Audi and the GT Vision cars. You've got a 2-second gap behind to the Porsche. You've got 2.5 second gap to the Nissan. As you head into the second half of the race, this is where we're going to get a bit more aggressive. We've already made up 8 places, but you can see I think that's 4th in front of us, maybe even 6th. As we're heading towards the first corner, we've got the Italian who's run right out the final corner as we go into the second half of the race, and they're not even defending, not even bothering. As we've got a Beetle in front with the Brit, and then we've got the Brit in the Lexus. As you can see, the top 5 now, we've got that Porsche of the Belgium in 3rd, and we've got a couple of Germans at the front. And we look at the mini map as well, they've got a big gap, the top 3 ahead of this yacht. So maybe 4th is the best we can do, but get around the top 5 from 15th, I would take that any race of the week. As we're defending slightly going into the hairpin, we've got our fellow Nissan on our tail, and they're battling hard. In front is the Beetle and the Lexus. Looks like it's just holding on 4th though into that chicane, as we've got this Italian all over our tail. Got some very good pace, just unfortunately ran wide, and maybe we can drag them up into this battle, which is going very gangbusters. Look at this, defending very hard, heading into the right hand. That just cost them both loads of time. and we're gaining all the time. We're just over a second behind now. We've got over a second gap behind to the Italian, so we don't have to really look behind. We're just focusing on what's happening in front as we're taking loads of speed, taking loads of curves, and almost into the barrier, but we just about hold on. And now look at this, we're less than half a second behind the Beetle. We've made this a three-way tussle for fourth, as in it's like, oh, it's third now. Someone has gone off. Is that the Porsche? The Porsche is gone, unfortunately. So now we're battling for a podium, as we've got the two Beetles in front, way in front. And it's like they're already lapping cars on the mini-map. He's gone to the 7th lap. We're right on the tail of this Beetle of the Brits. Then 3rd, 4th and 5th. Which Brit will be on the podium? Well, we're making a stab for 4th already. Going down the inside of the Beetle. And it looks like we're going to hold it perhaps on the inside here. They're trying to stick it around the outside. I think we've got the traction out the corner, and we have made that position. We're up to 4th. We're battling for a podium on the 7th lap of this race. So we've got Lexus in front. Nice to see a different car in front instead of all these Beetles we've been battling with the odd intermission of a Porsche, and of course a fellow Nissan GTR Nismo. Where we go on the back of this Lexus. How are we going to get by this Lexus? As we've seen them be a bit slower through those S-bends near the end of the lap. Then maybe for the final corner can make a move like we saw with that Beetle into the first corner on the next lap. As we've got a great run though through the chicane as we head towards this long right hand. In the other configurations, it's a beautiful corner. Downhill, shifting down a gear, just carry all the speed. In this configuration, it's going uphill, going down a gear. Well, not really down a gear. You're kind of trying to get on the power as quickly as possible. Slight lift going into the corner and then carry all the speed on the exit as we're right in the slipstream here. We've got over a second gap behind on the Italian. Looks like the Beatles lost another position out the top 5 now. But unfortunately, we've got traffic in front. Car that goes says, oh, we can't avoid it in time. We can't avoid the traffic. The Frenchman go right into the back. We've nailed the traffic as we go around the outside, and that's allowed our fellow Nissan down our inside into 4th. Great avoiding action from the Lexus though in 3rd. So when they know that we're battling for a podium, we're now battling to stay in the top 5, and we're right battling with our fellow Nissan here as we go on to the 8th lap, looking around the outside, trying to take the wider line and get on the power earlier, get a good exit. Even though we'll be making the move into the chicane, just trying to stick close, maybe make a move into the hairpin. Let's take loads of curb. We got a great run through those couple of corners, but it looks like we're not quite close enough to dive it down the inside into the hairpin. And of course, we want this Nissan as well to be battling with the Lexus. Maybe when they're battling, get distracted. You know, we can maybe take advantage, as it looks like we've got a McLaren round our outside in 16th, getting that. As we've got a couple more drivers who have left this race. Only 17 drivers in the field, so we're really going through the back markers at the moment on this 8th lap, as we've got only 2.5 laps to go, and we're looking down the inside of our fellow Nissan into the fast right-hander. But of course we're backing off, because they're looking down the inside of the Lexus. They're going side by side. Very kind from the Brit there, giving all the room to the Italian. Maybe really compromised himself on the exit, as it looks like the Nissan's gone down the inside through the fast right. Great move from the Italian. As I said, maybe the Brit compromised himself too much through there, given so much room. But now we're backing off in the first part, then we're going to nail it flat out through the next part. But unfortunately, we lost too much time backing out there, so we can't really move into the final corner. But the Brit is, and look at this, they're kind of shaky the connection. They're still making a move through side by side, heading on to the penultimate lap of the race. The Italian's now going all over the place. Seems like his connection has gone a bit frayed as he's going down the inside. Do we follow him down the inside? Do we make it 3 wide even? No, we're not going to do that. That would be very unwise. As I said, we want these two to battle and then take advantage. We don't want to be part of the mess which is about to occur, maybe be the mess as well, as you go through this chicane again. And it looks like he's indicating right. You want to be indicating left now. No, he's still indicating right. Maybe he's just trying to distract them. I'm going down the inside, whether you like it or not, says the Italian. And he's diving it. Oh, that's very brave move. There's no real gap there. But he might get him on the exit though. As the Brit, has he got slowed down? He was very slow on the exit. They didn't know if he got too squealy, but he's down to 5th now in the Lexus, and now it's a Nissan battle for a podium to join the Beatles on the chicane and enjoy the post-race. See who is going to get it between myself and the Italian. We've got a lap and a half to go, as we've got the Porsche in 6th, the Czech driver who's been quietly making his way up the field as well. Very good to see. And then we got the Brit in the Beetle, who seems to be dropping back as the race goes on, down to 7th ahead of the Frenchman in the Beetle. Is that the same Frenchman we were battling in the earlier? That's good race from them as well. In 8th, of course, we're focusing on in front on the Italians. We're back off into the first part again, and then take it flat out as they're kicking up the dirt. They're struggling, they're using the brakes, and it's like the turn to get that momentum, get that shift going with the weight. And we're diving down the inside. They're being very nice to us once again, very courteous. But he's just holding it round the outside. Will they run wide like we've seen a couple of times in this race? They will. And he's mowing the grass. He's learnt. He's getting better at mowing the grass. So they're on to the final out of the race. Who's going to grab the podium? We're going down the inside. I expect him to defend. Where's the defending? As we go down the inside, we slightly outbreak ourselves. He's going to do the cutback. He's going to force a gap. As we're around the outside though. And we've got the inside line heading into the right hander, most importantly. As that Lexus is still holding brief there. He's going to try and take advantage of the action as we go slightly wide through the left, and now in this way trying to cut around the outside. He's losing it. We saw that early in the race. Has he lost it? Has he just been saved by the Lexus? So we got a time penalty. We're slowing down on the apex of the hairpin. That's really worked to our advantage though. As the Lexus looks down our inside, is he close enough to make a dive? I don't think so. Heading into the right, into the left, so much harder to make a move into these corners then in the normal layout where you've got this long straight, then you're heading into the right hander. But in this, you're heading through a bendy straight into a right, into a left, into a right. And we braked very cautiously. They got into the back of us, and that's really cost them time. And now we've got almost second gap to the Lexus behind it. Look at it, over almost 22 seconds behind the Beetle. I don't think we got enough time to gain on them in the remaining half of that. But first has already crossed the line. Fantastic victory. Seems like they just had a clear view for the whole race. They weren't bothered by anyone with the two Beetles in front. It's like a victory of around 10 seconds for the first German. So good job from them. German won too, but here comes the Brits in 3rd and 4th. And it's like we've got the Lexus second behind as we go through the final corner. And a fantastic battle through the field from 15th up onto the podium. One of my best races in GT Sport Online personally. You know, race-wise, result-wise, and that was fantastic fun. Going past the Lexus, going past our fellow Nissan in those Romanian laps, battling so many Beetles I've lost count as well. As you also got a Porsche in 9th and in 6th from the Czech driver, and it's like the Honda in 12th, and then another Nissan in 14th. But I hope you enjoyed a fantastic race. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.